Hello my lovely friends, this is Marta from Drop of Sunshine. Welcome in another video tutorial. Today's video is a part of my Monday challenge on my Facebook group, which link you will find down below. And my lovely friends, before you start judging me, I know I have this excessive, ridiculous amount of the scraps. Normally, most of the crafters keep their scraps in some folder or something, and I have a drawer. And I have actually the drawer designated for each color, and they all look in pretty much the same. I know this is just horrendous, but believe me, my friends, I love my papers and I'm always having the hard time to dispose even a tiniest bit. So I'm keeping everything, all the cutouts, all the pieces, strips, and I'm just thinking I'm gonna do it later. I'm gonna create something out of it, and it's just time never comes. So I already create one card with this lovely flower wreath, which you could see on the front photo, and this card I have as a short clip on the Facebook page. So thank you so much everyone who watched it and commented. I really love your support and reading your comments, and I really appreciate that one. I've decided, because I've been, and honestly I need to say sorry and apologize you all for this, I've been neglecting my inspirational group for a little bit some time lately, because I had so much things going on with the craft stash release and also not being very healthy over the past few months. So I've not been very active on my group, but I've decided to reactivate it a little bit to boost up some challenges, some a lot more activities over there. And my idea was to start from this Monday weekly challenges. Every Monday I will come in with some simple idea for everyone who wants to take a part to decide to play with goodies you already have in your stash, because I know that we love buying new things, but we also have some hidden gems, and everyone have some bits in the craft studio you haven't been using for a while. So this is the purpose of this Monday challenges. As you can see, I grabbed a couple of the papers, and the whole idea for this challenge was to use some blue scraps and try to avoid grabbing new papers, cutting new pages, but just grab the scrap pieces you have and create any card you like. I had a couple of these hearts which I've glued one on top of another. I think it was 5 or 6 in total, and then I'm stamping it a little bit and I will be embossing it. I couldn't find this clean embossing pad, and the one I have, it's dirty, which I thought it may affect the color of this heart, so I just put a drop of the embossing ink on the piece of the kitchen sponge, and I'm just dabbing it on the surface. And I'm gonna be adding quite a few layers of this embossing powder, mixing between the pearl one, the clear one, a dash of the silver and blue, all these colors, which I think they will look in nicely. And once each layer will melt, they will create this kind of a tile glaze on top of the hard surface, and this will change it from being looking as a paper into looking some sort of the embellishment, like that would be really made from the resin or something like that. And I love mixing the color, and I'm adding them as I would be pinch some spice onto the dish. I'm just pinching a little bit and just tossing them here and there, and once they have this thick layer of the clear embossing powder in between, those little silver and blue particles, they start flowing and creating this beautiful effect. It almost reminds me those effects you get when you play with the alcohol inks or something like that. So they flow nicely, and the silver embossing or gold, dasha gold or silver, it's always just cherry on the top for this type of the creation. So this is something you can try for yourself. You not necessarily have to use the heart shape die. You can use whatever die or sentiment. Try to do it on a sentiment. It works better if you have this like a little bit larger font die cut sentiments, and just emboss them several times. I guarantee it to you, you will love the final effect. And it could be a clear embossing or silver or something, and then once you have a little bit thicker layer, try to sprinkle a new embossing, like different color, and maybe dash of purple or yellow or whatever it is, and once they all mix together they will create this beautiful effect. So here you can see, here's my little tile heart. And then something I need to tell you, my friends, today I actually decided to use my very first die cut piece, which I had for many years. I will show you that in a second, but before I'm trying to think of which idea. I really like this lattice. Here I have, this is the old die cut piece which I thought I'm gonna use it someday, and it's been lying in my drawer for months, if not more. And then I've decided I'm gonna leave it for for another day. Instead of that, I want to bring a little bit more of this silver embossing, and for that I'm gonna do one of my favorite and quickest technique as well, which is tearing paper. You can tear it into the thicker piece, or do what I did here. I wanted to have a little bit skinnier strips, so I've decided to divide those strips into the two instead of the one thick one, because I thought it will be this was too thick for my heart, and I want to have something more delicate and more having revealing this white color from behind. So here you can see I've divided the strip into two narrower one, and I really like them. Now I've decided I want to have some sort of a sentiment, and I actually remind myself that this stamp set, which I've just used on my other video from Simply Cards and Papercraft magazine, it's quite large and it will be looking lovely and matching here as well. I had a little bit of the thinking process because I wasn't sure, oh, shall I use it blue or silver? But then I've decided I want to have the silver accents. So I've decided to emboss my sentiment with the silver embossing powder. And this big jar of the embossing powder, it comes from the Wow company, and you can buy directly from them for the fraction of the price for the small containers. They really large, and they will just last you forever. Here you could see this very dirty ink pad which I have, and this is the ink pad with the embossing ink on it, which I am using for a dark embossing. Whenever I'm gonna be stamping and embossing with the silver, gold, or any other color, I like to use it because it will help me to see whether my stamped image is stamped properly, or do I need to like redo it second time. Here I add I still had this wet sponge from the previous work when I was embossing this heart, so I use it to smear over these edges, and I do very roughly work here. I am not covering them entirely. I am just adding a little bit here and there, just to have this like a little bit silver sparkling on the borders. You will see it at the end of the video. I have this like a proper look in the close-up photos, so you will see how beautiful it turned out. I am burnish my card a little bit to help it stay flat, and then I will be adding this strips. Because both of those strips has been distressed and they have a little bit like a rough edges, I don't really have to add any foam tape because the edges are sticking out anyway, and that gives me a perfect amount of the dimension. This card in today's video, it will be relatively flat, so this is a very good idea for someone who would like to make a card for posting or sending to someone, so this will be just going to the envelope very nicely. And now this is what I was telling you about. I wanted to use actually some sort of a butterfly, so I grabbed my my dice with the butterflies. You could see it over here, and then I just look on this little hummingbird, and I thought, oh wow, this is it, I need to use it. And this die, this is very kind of a I would say I have some sentiment for this die, because this is my very first die. I remember, I can't tell you how many years ago, because we are living in a small town and we were traveling down, I think it was to Aberdeen, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was Aberdeen. It was hobby craft store in Aberdeen. It was my very first visit in a craft store when I wanted to buy a die cutting machine, which was Sizzix, and then I bought it, and along with the machine I also bought two sets of the dice, which one was this hummingbird from the Tattered Lace and the other one was set of the tags. I believe it was tags number 2 from Spellbinder. So this is my oldest ever die I'm using here. And one thing, I was laughing when I was recording this video because I perfectly checked that the hummingbird, like when I placed the die on a heart, it was facing the right side, but I didn't realize that I was keeping the die upside down. So when I cut this silver hummingbird, it was actually turning the wrong way. Then I've decided, okay, it's not a trouble. Mistakes happen. You can always, fix it. So that's why I am silver. I'm covering this hummingbird on with silver powder on the wrong side. So this will be matching my sentiments because I wanted to have the bird to be turned towards my white space on the card, not flying away from it. I think this is far better, like composition wise, it's just looking better. And once I attach my hummingbird and I'm using the hot glue, remember, if you have the embossed elements and you use the hot glue, do not press with your fingers too hardly because the heat from the glue will slightly heat up your embossing powder, and if you press very firmly with your finger, you can leave the fingerprint on the embossing. So here is my card. I add a little gem for the eye of the bird, and I really love it. It was very simple yet fine idea to play with my scraps. Last thing I want to tell you, my friends, this coming Sunday I have this digital Sunday live classes on the Craft Stash page if anyone would like to join me. Thank you so very much for supporting, for being here, watching, commenting and subscribing to my channel. I am wishing you all a fabulous day, and bye bye.